welcome to SVG-TV News for Monday, May 20th, 2019. I am Yvette Bowens with the details. The Ministry of Health is appealing to members of the public with no documented evidence of a second vaccination dose for the measles, mumps and rubella vaccine to visit their nearest medical health center to get the vaccine, including persons who are traveling to countries which are experiencing an outbreak of the highly contagious viral disease. The United States is among several countries experiencing a measles outbreak, with over 880 cases reported there so far. Measles is a highly contagious viral disease which can result in death in 30% of cases, with the very young and elderly most at risk. A news release issued by the Ministry of Health today states that 1 out of 20 children with measles contracts pneumonia, which is a common cause of death, with 1 child out of 1,000 developing encephalitis, which is a swelling of the brain, a condition which leads to convulsions, hearing loss, and intellectual disability. The ministry says it recognizes the importance of vaccination in preventing the disease and implemented several programs over the years, which include a measles catch-up vaccination program targeting persons 9 months to 14 years old, the introduction of a MMR vaccine into the routine immunization schedule, mop-up MMR campaigns targeting children between the ages of 1 to 4, and a mass MMR campaign targeting persons between 20 to 40 years old. The ministry, however, notes that immunization is one of the most cost-effective public health interventions and prevents illnesses and deaths from all vaccine-preventable diseases. The Bushfire Polyclinic was closed today following a picket in front of the building by some persons who were mainly women. SVG-TV News understands that their action was prompted because of what they claim is the lack of employment opportunity for residents at the clinic, which became operational last month. The protesters called on the relevant authorities to address their concern, noting that they will continue to speak out until the matter is addressed. Parliamentary representative for the constituency, Sir Louis Straker, told SVG-TV News that he was aware of the action taken by the disgruntled residents, whom he said he has spoken with, and gave them the assurance that he is looking into the issue. The rights as employers and employees was the focus of discussion on Sunday's edition of the VuPoint program on SVG-TV. The panel comprised of Senior Labour Officer Susan Clark, General Secretary of the National Workers Movement Noel Jackson, and President of the SVG Employers Federation Helena Thomas. The live and interactive program provides the opportunity for members of the public to call in and raise questions with the panelists. One of the questions raised during the program was that of job description and whether an employer can change it without providing remuneration. Members of the panel took turns to respond to the question.
For example, if you have new methods of working, you can revise the job description. But if you employ me and give me a job descriptions, let's use it to be simple, to do 10 things. And then you upgrade it to do 15 things. You have to talk to me about some other remuneration, because it means that you have increased my workload, you know. But there are employers who do that. I mean, some of them even attempt to do it even while the union exists in the workplace.
But don't forget, Mr. Jackson, don't forget that there is always a little clause on the job description.
Yes, but it must be within
reasonable and related.
No, it must be within scope.
It must not impinge on the job description itself.
Exactly. But there's another case where you can actually update the job description without increasing salary. What if it's you're realigning? The job functions have changed. For some reason, there's something that's going on in the environment, in the working environment. That means that you have to change a person's job. You're not adding more, but that you're changing the functions. You need to upgrade and change the job description. That does not necessarily mean, because it may be a lateral change and not something that requires that the person gets an increase.
Yeah.
But the job description changes sometimes too when we have less employees than before. So you had 15 employees before and you send home 5, you have to increase the workload, throughout the other 10.
As SVG gets ready to host Phase 2 of the Trade Winds exercise, the RSVG Police Force on Friday hosted an exhibition in front of the Central Police Station in Kingstown to sensitize the public about the exercise and to encourage persons to sign up as volunteers. Speaking with the Agency for Public Information, Assistant Superintendent of Police Junior Simmons said even though the Trade Winds is a military exercise, civilian volunteers are still needed to perform critical roles.
Exercise Trade Winds, it is a military plus a humanitarian assistance and disaster relief exercise. So the volunteers, they would be doing several different things in the exercises. For example, we would be having different simulation exercises where we need persons to act as role players in terms of evacuation. Also, one of the exercises, is a simulation of the eruption of La Soufrière. So we'll be evacuating persons from point A to point B. So these role players would be needed to play their part in that.
ASP Simmons said the volunteers will also help to provide useful data which will be used for capacity building.
They would receive prior training as to what exactly they need to do. NEMO and the Red Cross, also the police officers, they would have special sessions with these volunteers, because it is critical that that person volunteer for the exercise, because without them, we would not have the results that we're looking for. That's why we want the entire nation to be on board for exercise Trade Winds, because we'll be testing our capabilities to respond to natural disasters throughout St. Vincent and Grenadines.
The ASP highlighted how interested persons can sign up to be a volunteer.
You can visit NEMO Facebook page, website. You can also visit the police force website page. You can also visit the Red Cross website, and there's a link there that you can download, and you fill the form and you just submit it. All right. The page is Volunteers for Exercise Trade Winds. So you visit the police force website, the NEMO website, and Red Cross, and you can fill out the form and you submit it, and it will go straight to NEMO, and they would get your information and contact you.
And if they don't have access to that, can they go to a police station and, or come here and say, want to sign up or something?
Right. So they can visit the Exercise Trade Wind headquarters, right at Central Police Station, or they can visit the NEMO headquarters in the Old Montrose, where you can sign up, or the Red Cross office, just behind of the Ministry of Education building. They also have forms there where you can sign up as well.
Phase 2 of the Trade Winds exercise will be held in St. Vincent and the Grenadines from June 14th to 21st, 2019. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves will on Wednesday address the Global Pathfinder Summit, a major leadership conference in Charlottesville, Virginia in the United States. The 5-day summit, hosted by the Commonwealth of Virginia in partnership with the Presidential Precinct, a US-based think tank, brings together emerging leaders from over 50 countries across the globe to explore civic engagement projects which supports the values of diversity and democracy, the impact of youth movements on global challenges, and the state of global democracy. Prime Minister Gonsalves will deliver his keynote address at 8:30 a.m. on Wednesday under the theme, Perspectives on Representative Democracy. The Global Summit seeks to galvanize over 150 influential emerging leaders to devise meaningful contributions to their countries and communities through civic engagement within their geopolitical space. Senator Carlos James is attending the Global Summit as a delegate from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Prime Minister Gonsalves is accompanied by his wife Eloise and Senator James. Officers with fire department had a busy day today dealing with a house and a bushfire. This and other stories coming up when we return with more local news. A fire today in the Orange Grove area of Dorchester Hill destroyed a dwelling house. The fire reportedly started around 8:20 a.m. However, firefighters were unable to put out the fire before it completely destroyed the house and its contents. The house was at the time being rented by a young man who was reportedly not at home when the fire started. SVG-TV News understands that the fire department was alerted of the fire by passers-by and that the fire truck took about half of an hour to arrive on the scene.
We can't park nowhere in that Hill Road. No vehicle can pass in that Hill Road. Mostly fire truck. If somebody's life was in there, they would have been gone. We heard the fire truck coming on Dash Hill a while ago before he saved the fire take the whole house. I would say if the fire truck didn't reach in time, he might have saved half the house. Half of the time we call him and the time that we hear the fire truck come the corner down there, half of the house going to be maybe safe.
Tell us,
the fire man said that he bring 400 or 4,000 gallons of water or something like that. But that could never be true. Because he can't out that with that. Before it is if it's finished out in, water run out. Went in there now.
They went
in the house and out down the house with the fire. It finished. So. They went in the house and out. So maybe if they figure nothing in it to waste the water.
It was a busy morning for the RSVG Fire Department as they had to respond to another fire in close proximity to capital city Kingstown. The second incident was a bushfire which got out of control and threatened homes in the community of Cemetery Hill. On the scene at Cemetery Hill, Inspector Curtis Clark, attached to the fire department, explained the situation and provided some advice on how one can prevent such fires from getting out of control.
We responded to a report of a fire. The report was a house fire, and on our arrival we observed it was a bushfire. We have been having a lot of bushfires over the years, and it continues into this year. For the year so far, we have numerous fires, and these fires have been set by persons for different reasons. This fire here was set, somebody was doing some burning, some slash and burn in the backyard, and the fire got out of control. We advise the person that in the event when you're doing such burning, you have to clear the area, put all the bushes or the heaps of grass into one parcel, and then you light each parcel one after the other. Also, you should be on standby with a bucket of water or a garden hose in the event that the fire get out of hand, so that you are in proper control.
Inspector Clark reminded persons of the devastating effect an out-of-control bushfire can have on lives, property and the environment.
Those who are just lighting fires for no reason or for reasons that is not acceptable, I want to reach out to persons and advise them that this is a dry season and the lighting of fires can cause further damages, not only to the environment but to houses that may be in the vicinity. We know once the conditions are right, a fire can easily get out of control and it can spread to different places, to a house or to a neighboring property, whether it be agricultural crops or just somebody's backyard. So we advise persons not to light fire, and if you have to light fire for good reason, you must have the proper measures in place in order to make things not escalate, but to make it work for you and make it better for the environment.
The police inspector said the human resource of the fire department is put under unnecessary strain when it has to respond to unnecessary events such as bushfires.
It put a lot of strain on you because, for instance, this morning, one of our trucks would have responded to a fire at Dorchester Hill. Being there at the station, another report came in that there's a house fire at Cemetery Hill. We have to get persons from different departments and persons who are off duty to respond to this fire. So that's a big strain because persons who have other duties to perform have to be removed from that duty to respond to this fire. And to any fires at all, it's put a lot of strain on the men, especially where you have to respond to 2, 3 and 4 fires per day. It's overworked the manpower that we have, and the resources that we have is limited at the moment.
The secondary schools which participated in this year's National School Band Showcase were rewarded for their participation today. At the award ceremony, organizers say though the showcase was a success, it came with its challenges, and they are looking at how they can iron out these challenges as well as to encourage more schools to participate in the showcase. Larissa Pugsley-Kidd tells us more in this report.
In this year's secondary school bands a success, Minister of Culture Cecil Sazmaki implored more secondary schools to participate. This year, 12 out of 26 secondary schools participated in this showcase, and while the minister was disappointed with the level of participation, he said he's pleased that all the secondary schools were engaged by organizers. Looking ahead, the minister envisions a music school for SVG in the not-too-distant future.
I suspect we'd want to start going into the primary schools and engage in them to create the foundation. I see the music teachers and the students nodding as well, because I hear them saying if we're involved from the primary school level, by now we would have been full professionals and been able to put out an even better product. So into the primary schools, and then I suspect that the call would be made for a school of music in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The Secondary School Bands Showcase is a collaborative effort between the Ministry of Culture, the SVG Teachers Cooperative Credit Union, and the Ministry of Education. Vice President of the SVG-TCCU, Curtis King, commended the school bands which took part in the showcase, while at the same time highlighting some areas that requires improvements.
Got the competition last year. I felt that was one drawback, in that the people in the background, you are not always seeing them. We want to see the performers. Okay, so that is one thing the stage managers can take into consideration for next year's competition. We have to move now to that other level where we can have the bands performing on a more regular basis.
Coordinator of the showcase, Rodney Small, emphasized the importance of music and how students can make it as a main income earner.
Have now the established school bands playing at our national festivals, Gospel Fest, Carnival, Independence. Enhance the tourism product in the field of entertainment, create employment for full-time entertainers. We can safely say that more than 70% of these objectives are now realities. Coming right after the school band showcase, we saw some of the school bands making appearances at different events.
At the ceremony, special awards were presented for the SVGT-CCU's Most Disciplined Band, which was presented to the Chumuka, Ontario Secondary School. The Ministry of Education's Excellence Award for Music went to Bethel High School, and the Ministry of Tourism, Sports and Culture Most Promising Band went to the St. Martin's Secondary School. The Bethel High School won this year's jingle competition, and members of the band were given a $100 EC startup account with the SVG-TCCU. The students performed the winning jingle at today's awards ceremony. Reporting for SVG-TV News, Larissa Pugsley-Kidd.
One person could literally be set for life through a new game offered by the National Lotteries Authority. The Set for Life game, which was launched today, offers a number of attractive prizes, with the grand prize consisting of a house which is under construction in the Queens Drive area, valued at $450,000, a vehicle valued at $130,000, along with a cash prize of $50,000. The second prize will include $50,000, while the third place winner will receive $20,000. 4 persons will also win consolation prizes of $1,000 for a year. There will also be 5 monthly draws of $5,000. Speaking at the launching event today, General Manager of the National Lotteries Authority, McGregor Seeley, said the Set for Life game is not a new idea, but hopes it will receive the nation's wide support.
In fact, when we planned this game, we took into consideration that this country would be celebrating its 40th anniversary on October the 27th this year. And we took in mind this, and we want to commemorate the occasion by launching this new game. As I said, it is not a new innovation. We had a game like this before, and it went down pretty well. We at the National Lottery are hopeful that you the public at large would patronize this game as you have patronized all our games. And we hope that it's going to be very, very successful.